Hey everyone, so wanted to send this out since we don't have a meeting today, but also there are some housekeeping things with our brokerage, and then I think anyone watching this who may be in another brokerage should definitely pay attention to. And I believe it's things that are going to eventually cause lawsuits in our industry, and I'm seeing this more and more and more. And so let's cover that. And let's also pay attention to some other strategies as we're really entering into a buyer's market. What do you do when you have listings? Okay, so the first thing that you really want to pay attention to is when your client is interested in submitting an offer, time is of the essence. Submit that shit fast. I don't know how else to say this. There are times where a house just goes on the market on a Friday or a Thursday, but you got to communicate a lot with the agent. I am not talking about texting and emailing them. I'm talking about calling them, picking up the phone and calling. If you do not, and you only text or email, or you call and you don't leave a voicemail and don't follow up with a text or email, and your client misses out on the house, who do you think they're going to blame? And there are people that are in certain positions, and you're going to start getting high-end, high net worth, high litigation focused people, clients, who are going to think, what the heck happened? Who dropped the ball? Because I see that house closed for less than what I was going to offer. My agent said they couldn't get a hold of the agent. I called the listing agent to figure out what's going on, because this has happened, guys and girls and everyone in between and extension. They reach out to the listing agent and they say, hey, what happened? My agent said they never called you. And they say, I'm pretty sure I got a call from maybe their number, but they never left me a voicemail. They never sent me a text. They never sent an email. I don't know who this is. We never talked. I get lots of spam calls, as you may know. That's why you guys missed out. If I would have known that you were submitting that offer, I would have waited. But I wasn't going to wait, because we got an offer that seemed really good, and we decided to move forward with it after waiting an entire day. So this is happening a lot, where one agent, I'm not saying this is anyone in our brokerage, because I don't actually know, to be completely honest, but I don't take a lot of listings. I've been working with some people for a very long time, and I still had to work and earn their trust that wanted me to list their house. And I said, fine. And I'm seeing this, and I'm just warning you all that this is going to happen. People have called me. Don't leave a voicemail. They call at 8:30 at night. At 8 a.m., they're doing something dumb, like giving keys to a home inspector and then leaving. And my seller is seeing this on a video, and they're saying, well, I tried calling you. I said, you called me at 8:30 at night when I'm putting my kids down for bed. I'm not answering my phone. And also, I'm sorry, I don't have your phone number saved in my phone, because we haven't even talked. You've just sent me an email. So many things. So just make sure that you're communicating. So it's Friday, house just went on the market. I show it. Maybe I don't want to be the first offer. That makes total sense. But you have to communicate with the agent constantly, because there's so many agents that get way too excited when another offer comes in, or they think, I can't pass this up and I'm not going to wait for this other agent. Because I've seen it also way too many times where multiple people say, we're going to be submitting an offer, but then they don't, because who knows? The client says that they want to, but then they want to talk about what they want to offer, and then they never get back to you and say, we changed our mind. Happens all the time. Or the agent is just excited and say, I think my client loves it. We're going to submit an offer, and then they don't. So you need to communicate with the agent. Hey, my client really likes it. We still have 2 other houses we want to see. I'm almost positive we're going to be submitting an offer on your listing. Please, if you get any offers, please send me a text. I know people promise this all the time, but if you get another offer, I know for a fact I'll get my clients to submit a better offer. They want to see these other 2 houses. It's really difficult to see them. So please hold out for us. I'll even call you tomorrow afternoon to make sure. Now, you need to communicate with your clients exactly what you did. This is what the strategy is. Why? Because if we submit an offer right now, they're going to use it as leverage to get a better offer. Okay. Second big point that everyone needs to be paying attention to. There are confidentiality agreements that you need to start implementing into every single offer you have. Why? Because it at least somewhat protects your client. Now, keep in mind, you'd have to really prove that they went and told someone the terms and details of your offer. What are you going to put on there that's confidential? Bleeping everything. They still, I'm pretty sure this is the law, not just an ethics thing with our association. They still have to disclose that they've received an offer, but they are not allowed to disclose any terms. Now, how are you going to prove that? I don't really know. It would have to be they told someone in an email, a text, or someone in our brokerage on a recorded line, and then you got to report them. At the end of the day, though, you're protecting your clients. So you could throw a fit all you want when an agent uses your offer to get better offers, but that is their freaking job. I'm trying to watch my language here, but you guys need to start taking this crap seriously. I'm not messing around anymore. Why? Because people are whining like little children. No one in our brokerage. Everyone in our brokerage, love you all. You all are doing amazing. This is other people in other brokerages, and it's you got a license for a reason. You are helping people with the biggest purchase of their life. Some of you are making 15, 20, 30,000 per deal in our area of California. So you're asking for 3%, 2.5%, whatever it might be. Earn that bleeping commission. This is not I just communicate with you half-hat. No, I'm not even going to try to say that because my tongue's very tied right now. But you need to make sure that you're communicating properly. Okay. So confidentiality agreements with every offer. I am not going to spend an entire day. This is what happens to me as the loan officer. Is someone calls me and say, I want a pre-approval letter. Once again, not people in our brokerage. So I just want to throw this out there. Sometimes it kind of seems that way, but I'm not 100% sure. So I send the pre-approval letter and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And then I get a group email, or I'm putting an email, I'm CC'd on an email with an offer like the next day. And then I find out, oh, we got another offer last night. And it's like, hey, I sent you the pre-approval early in the morning. Submit the offer right away, because the longer you wait, the more likely it is that another offer may come in, and it totally changes your ability to negotiate. I call someone, they say, we have no offers. We've been on the market for 3 weeks. Please submit an offer. I say, great. Submit the offer, because what ends up happening is you wait a day. Now you're submitting an offer asking for a 2% credit because you've sold the client on a temporary rate buy down or whatever it might be, but now they have another offer. You just lost your ability to get a credit. Or you've submitted, or even worse, you submitted the offer with a 2% credit. Now that agent, because most agents do this, they don't want to counter, and I don't know why, but they just do this. They don't want to counter you. So instead, what they do is they just accept the other offer. Now, what we're dealing with is your client just lost out on the house and they're pissed. They're wondering, what happened? You told me to ask for this credit. Why did we lose out on the house? I didn't even really care to get the credit. I mean, it would have been nice, but at the same time, I just wanted the house. And what happened? You waited too long. Well, the client took too long to get back to me. You better be able to, with a straight face to their face, blame them for that. Okay. When can you blame them for that? Buyer, I called you 3 times. I texted you. I emailed you. Remember, I asked you multiple times what you wanted to offer, because time is of the essence. Remember when I put in those messages? Remember when we talked in the house and I said, a lot of times time is of the essence. We need to submit things very quickly. I'll tell you if we don't need to submit things very quickly. That will go, that communication will say make or break anything, because you at least warned them that something might happen if time is not of the essence with them, if they take too long to get back to you. But what tends to happen is you don't do that, and instead you wait and you say, oh, well, whatever, right? You're the one communicating and driving their understanding of how quickly they need to get back to you. So just so you know, time is of the freaking essence. And I see it so many times where it's like the afternoon. Oh, well, they were taking a while to get back to me. You tell them that time is of the essence and they need to get back to you like right now. You need to submit the offer right now. Why? Because this is what happens. Someone does Someone's on the market, they do a small price drop, or they do an open house, and there's a few other people seeing the house over the weekend, and then Monday they do this big price drop. You need to submit the offer right away, because everyone who saw the house over the weekend, they're going to see, oh, they did a price drop. Wow, now I'm more excited about this house. And they're going to come out of the woodwork. So time is of the essence. Okay. So confidentiality agreements, communicate, submit quickly. If you're not going to submit quickly, you got to communicate. You still need to be calling the agent. You need to be communicating with them. If you text me and say, what should we offer? And I say, what did the listing agent say? And you say, I haven't called them. I'm going to be a little annoyed that you haven't watched these videos. Just being straight with everyone that you need to be calling the agent. Well, they didn't answer. Fine. You at least called and you attempted to communicate. What happens more often than not is you don't. And so what happens is they say, there's no way this will go VA. Why? Because my seller will not spend any money to do a cleared Section 1. Hey, well, did you know that the lender I'm working with does not require a cleared Section 1? The buyer still has to do a pest inspection, but all we have to provide is a form saying that there's no active pests in the house. They don't have signs of termites, right? Because that would be a bigger issue. No, they don't. Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Okay. You're going to save yourself so much time, your buyer's time, and get the house that they wanted by just communicating. Communication is key. And also, here's a big thing. Negotiations start from day one. So this is what, the fourth thing I'm bringing up, or third thing? I don't even know. Communicate, or your ability to negotiate starts day one. Yes, there are a lot of agents who are very rude, listing agents, but those same agents will be rude on the buying side. And I've seen so many times where an agent is extremely rude. Oh, I only can show the house tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Okay, well, my clients cannot show you the house tomorrow at 12 because that's when their movers come. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, you're telling me that your buyer doesn't have another time at all available, because I'm starting to get annoyed, and so is my seller. You're telling me there's no other time. Okay, I moved some times around. Okay. Hey, thank you for showing the house, but did you know you left all the lights on and the back door unlocked? Well, I don't know what to tell you. There's too many locks in this house. And then this has happened to me recently. And then they submit an offer. I go, well, guess what? My seller is bleeping pissed with you because of your freaking attitude. And now we're sending this. Well, guess what could happen? The buyer could run into us and say, hey, what was going on with the negotiations? And I'm going to say, your agent was an asshole. Just straight up, this has happened. And the buyer goes and sues the buyer's agent because you did not represent them properly. Because for some, watch my language, for some effing reason, you had to have attitude. You're going to get in a lawsuit. And I'm not okay with it. And if I get a call from a listing agent who tells me this, I'll kick you out of our brokerage right away, because it's the broker representing the client. And you guys, once again, no one in our brokerage is doing this. And I've had 0 calls about this. I have planned to never have a call about this. If you're in another brokerage, you're probably not the one watching these videos and learning. So what do they say? Preaching to the choir or something like that. But I'm just warning you, okay? Now, you're the agent on the receiving end of an asshole, I'm just going to say it, or someone who's just very emotional as an agent. Let's say their client's very emotional and they're embracing the emotion and they're just vomiting those emotions onto you. It is your job to just filter it out. Okay, case in point, we had one of our very experienced agents show a house. What happened, it was something happened that the back door was tricky to lock. Apparently, it didn't lock. It blew open. The seller and the agent didn't go to the house for like 2 weeks, and she was the last one to show the house. Agent calls her. She apologizes. Agent is just reprimanding her. The agent calls me, the broker. I will defend my agent and just say, listen, it is not her fault that you haven't been to the house in 2 weeks. Okay. Second, she apologized. This is not like a brand new agent that I am not surprised. She is not lazy. Just things happen sometimes. Now, that agent was probably expressing her client's frustration, and her job should have been to filter out that frustration and just say, listen, things happen. The agent was very apologetic. There's nothing else we can do. I'll make sure next time after a showing that's in the evening to swing by the house. She said the door was hard to lock. I did go to the house. I'm just warning you, this might be an issue on a home inspection, but I will make sure to check after every showing, and I'm going to remind them to lock the door. This has actually happened to me right now. While I'm recording this, just got a text saying, by the way, back door was unlocked after that showing. I know it's luckily my seller said, I know it's tricky to lock. Can you please remind people to make sure it's locked? Absolutely, because that's what normal people freaking do. But your job as the agent on the receiving end is to just be polite as you can, calm as you can. Why? Because they might do a price drop and then your client says, I'm interested in the house now. Now, what are you going to do? You got to go back to them and say, once again, I apologize. My client is interested. Okay. Once again, that agent is going to have to deal with the ramifications of being a dick to the next agent, whatever it might be. So just something to be aware of. Okay. Now, when it comes to all the attitude stuff, this big thing when it comes to the buyer's market, when it comes to negotiating, you get a lowballed offer. I think it's very important right now because a lot of buyer's agents are not doing this, not to say that they should or shouldn't. A lot of lenders aren't doing this. They should be doing this. They should be communicating the difference between a price reduction in monthly payment, down payment differences, and the difference between asking for a price reduction and a credit and what the difference is. So you're a listing agent. You're trying to do right by your client. House hasn't sold. We're in a buyer's market. Someone comes and offers 30,000 less, 20,000 less, 10,000 less. It's very important to say, hey, call your preferred lender. We do loans. Our brokerage does loans at Purpose Home Lending. NMLS, what is our NMLS? 2613494. Doesn't even sound right. I have so many different numbers in my head. Of course, nothing is loading. But here's what you want to go to your preferred lender and say. Yeah, 2613494. My personal license number is very similar, and it's really confusing. So the next thing you want to do is you want to go to them and say, okay, we just got an offer. Let's say it's 20,000 less. What would be the difference between an offer 20,000 less or a $10,000 price difference? And present this, right? You can have your lender send you and just say, hey, this is not, you can just communicate this, or you can share it with your client. I'm not trying to advertise my lender, but I want your client to be aware we're sending you a counter offer, and I want you to make sure you include this. And I'm putting in here, see attached, or I could just have you communicate this. But a $10,000 credit, average closing costs are this much. Here's a net sheet. If you got a $10,000 credit, that is the difference in a payment with a $20,000 price reduction for what you put on here versus a $10,000 credit. It would take you 120 months to save up enough money to earn back the $10,000 credit. Why would your buyer not want a $10,000 credit? Because I think that would help them so much more than a $20,000 price reduction. Just want to bring that up as an option. Okay. Same thing. You're getting a lot of really lowballed offers. It is not the time to say, no, that's offensive. It's the time to communicate, hey, please tell your client, you just offered us $60,000 less. If I drop the price $20,000, I think we're going to get more people interested. How about instead we offer you a $15,000 credit or $20,000 credit? Look, that would save you more money in the long run between an interest rate buy down and covering closing costs than a $60,000 price reduction. But also, or a $30,000 price reduction, but we're not going to do your 60 because I'd rather drop it 20 and just see what happens. So please communicate that with your client. That will at least help your sellers. And if you're sitting in listing appointments, it's a good selling point to your listings because you're going to have to start telling people we're entering into a buyer's market. What is going to be the plan? I like to do this now where I think I don't even do this that often, but it has helped me for the last couple listings. Listen, I think at this price range, we're probably going to get, there's a good chance we're going to get offers. I do think the house will definitely appraise. However, I'm still seeing a lot of houses on the market in this price range, and that's not really good. We also, I'm seeing a lot of houses sit in this price range. Now, they came on the market a lot higher, but they're still sitting at this price. So I think this price is good, but I do think there's a great likelihood that we could get a lot of people coming and seeing the house and no offers. If that happens, this is going to be my plan. This is going to be our plan moving forward, right? Always assume the sale. This is going to be our plan moving forward. If we get low-balled offers, really low-balled offers, what we want to do is this. Now, if we get really, really low-balled offers because they're investors or fix and flippers, totally fine. We're going to keep them on the hook because it helps us get better offers without scaring other people away. But this is going to be my plan. So hopefully this makes sense to people. This is why having a loan officer where they're your team member is huge. You shouldn't just expect them to send you business. You should also be using them for everything else. They should be an arm of your business or an extension of your business. Hey, I just got this VA offer. What should I watch out for on this listing? Hey, your listing was built in 1960, which means that there's going to be some lead-based paint disclosures. This is a VA loan. I would walk around the house and watch out for chipping paint because if there's chipping paint, they're going to call it out because of the lead-based paint issue. Hey, I noticed that in the pictures, there's a lot of dry rot around your house. Just so you know, there's a good chance an appraiser is going to call it out. Now, I would call the lender and ask them these questions because I think it could really help your client and help the buyer as well, right? That is what your lender should be doing, but you got to reach out and communicate that to the lender. If they're not willing to do that, probably time to start interviewing someone else. So hopefully this is helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Love to help. If you have anything else you want me to talk about or anything else I should be sharing, please let me know, and I'd be happy to share it.